And that's, when's it says starting to work with YouTube, what's that? Zoning. We should.
Feel like I'm waiting for the cue card.
Okay, we're live.
We're ready to go. Well, welcome to the January 23rd, 2024 Lake Stevens City Council meeting. This meeting is on Zoom currently and will be also recorded and on our YouTube channel at a later date. So with that, if we could stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. And if Vice President Donahue would lead us in Pledge of Allegiance, I'd appreciate it.
I'd be happy to. I pledge allegiance
to
to the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
As you can see, Mayor Gailey is out tonight, so we are pinch hitting here. So with that, can we have a roll call?
Of course. Councilmember Daughtry,
Present.
Councilmember Jorstad,
present,
Council President Peter Sagan,
Present.
Councilmember Donahue,
Present.
Councilmember Ewing,
Present.
Councilmember Shipman,
present,
and Councilmember Tagent.
Present.
Great, thank you. So with that, Council Vice President, I would ask that you handle item number 4, approval of the agenda. There is one change that I would like to make, and that is deleting item 13, executive session from the agenda tonight.
Okay. So with that modification, I move that we approve the consent agenda.
You had a second?
The agenda. Or the agenda, I'm sorry, the agenda.
Yes. Do we have a second? Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, guest business. Anyone in the audience, if they choose to speak, we do have green sheets to sign up. And I'll ask the Deputy City Clerk if we have anyone online that has raised their hand wanting to speak tonight.
Okay, if there's someone in the online environment that would like to give public comment, just go ahead and raise your digital hand and I'll bring you in. I don't see any digital hands raised.
Okay. With that, I do have a green sheet from Sally Jo Sebring, and she would like to speak tonight. So please come up to the podium and state your name, address for the record.
Sally Jo Sebring, 1023 99th Avenue Southeast. It sounds on, doesn't it? It's loud enough. I'm just following up on the email that I sent council members and the mayor about the speed of the development agreement for Chapel Hill. Because you guys haven't had a briefing yet, and I've been looking at documents that are available, and it's felt like there was a big rush, like there was a plan to have the workshop and then right after it seemed like have the hearing. And I just feel like a big rush is on to get this development agreement signed. And since you guys don't seem like you probably even know too much about it yet, I would just really encourage you, as I said in the email, that development agreements produce developments that are can be very problematic. And so I'd really encourage you that make sure it's a good development agreement, make sure it's good for the city, make sure it's good for the citizens, and take your time, really allow yourselves to think about it and what people say. Because there are some big issues in it. So thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else in the audience wishing to speak? Seeing none, we'll move on. I did skip over guest business. I'm assuming we don't have any guest business tonight. So with that, council business, how about if we start out with Councilmember Ewing?
No business for me.
Nothing. Council Member Shipman.
So I did go to the school board meeting on January 10th. It was their Student of the Month and Apple Award meeting. So that was a great first meeting to go to and see the diversity amongst our students and the awards they were given and the different personalities and strengths and talents and the support of their families and, their peers. It was a really rewarding thing to see. The rest of it was the first of the year, so they were going over a lot of numbers. I did have Dr. Monica Meadows reach out to me, and she said she would like to set a time for the High School Student Advisory Council to possibly have a meet and greet or dinner in March with the Lake Stevens Youth Advisory Council. So I don't know if Steve, if you sent me with them, or Kim, who meets with our youth advisory?
I do, and Steve does.
Okay, can I give
Set a
you
meeting
your
up.
cards?
Yeah.
And the students just expressed an interest of meeting the youth advisory that works with council. This is the youth advisory that works at the high school, since they're both at the same location. And then I attended the library board meeting on January 18th, and they are moving forward and they sounded very optimistic. They had positive things to say about the city and their working environment with the city. It looks like they still plan on breaking ground in 2024. The earliest will be summer. It may actually be pushed out to fall. They're not far enough along in the permit process to really have a hard even like what quarter of 2024 they're going to be breaking ground. One thing they did point out is the building is going to be sustainable. I asked, some of the ways that would happen. And they were saying they're using local timbers, they're using solar panels. They have a waste management roof collection so they can redirect that roof water. They're going to have EV chargers. They plan restoration and enhancement of the wetlands. So they're moving forward with that project and everyone's pretty excited. They do have the drawings at the library if anyone wants to review them. They also have them online on their website. And I just wanted to remind everybody that the library does so much more than just books and DVDs. Just for the month of January, they had toddler times and preschool stay and play times, little science for preschool. They actually organize a therapy horse to meet at the senior center last weekend. They have STEM projects for children as well. So a lot of times we think of our library as just books and DVDs and that, but they do have a lot of programs. If you go online, you'll see what their monthly programs are. And then finally, they are starting a pilot program. They're going to be starting a self-serve library. It's going to initially be just on Sundays from 10 a.m. till 5 p.m. And so anyone who's interested in using it, it will not be staffed. You can contact the library, you make an appointment. There's a short in-person orientation, and then customers will be given a unique access code. So this is something that's kind of up and coming. Other libraries have done it. And so we're going to do it here in Lake Stevens. And if it's successful, they may expand it.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Uh-huh.
Councilmember Donahue.
Yes, thank you. So I attended the Planning Commission meeting. I want to start by congratulating Commissioners Connor Davis and Janice Huxford for being selected as the new chair and vice chair respectively. The focus of the meeting was the ongoing work done, spearheaded by Senior Planner Levitan on the code cleanup. Several issues were covered, but the majority of the discussion by the commissioners focused on the percentage of gross commercial floor area that could be utilized for storage facilities within certain sub areas of the city. After the discussion with some minor alterations, the Planning Commission voted to forward a recommendation that the council adopt the code amendments as presented. I expect we'll hear more on that from staff in the future. And then at the end, if I could paraphrase the sentiment that I got from some of the commissioners, there was a desire that in the future joint meetings between the commission and the council, like the one we had just last week, be more structured, I guess, or maybe there be some sort of kind of agenda setting in advance so that we can hopefully maximize the use of that time, since we don't get to meet with them all at once very often. So that was one thing that was mentioned. And if warranted, maybe even depending on how many topics there are, maybe even looking at devoting more time, perhaps an entire council meeting to meeting with the various commissions. But again, I leave that to, how things shape up in the future. That's all.
Okay, great. Councilmember Daughtry.
All right, I had a busy week. Starting last Thursday, went to community transit where we reconstituted the board. We do that every 4 years. And what that means is you look at the populations that each of the cities have, and you look and see what's going to be a large city, a medium city, and a small city. That's how we're broken up, and then also the county. So the way that is that you have 2 county seats. We had 2 large city seats, 3 medium city seats, and 2 small city seats. Where the population changes of Lake Stevens, it made us grow up into a large city. So there's now 4 large cities in that PTBA. And the question was, how are we going to take a seat with that? Because I had a medium seat at the time. So we had a lot of discussion about that. One of the discussions was to take a council or a county council seat away from them and move it into the large city. County council wasn't in favor of that, of course, and we actually did maintain their 2 seats. So when it was all said and done, we did get moved into large city. We did maintain a seat. We went to 3 seats in large, 2 seats in medium, and 2 seats in small. After that, then we broke into those caucuses and decided who's going to be who's going to fill those seats. So what every city that's in the PTBA does is send a representative, and then we go off into the room, and the large cities had 4 people in there, and we duked it out to find out who's going to have those 3 seats, and then an alternate. What was interesting when it was all said and done is nobody that was on the board left the board. Everybody maintained their seats. So I'm still on the CT board. Then we went directly from CT to Snohomish County Cities, where we had to elect our new board. I maintained treasurer. We have a new president, new vice president, a new secretary. And then what's even more important about that is the only reason that SCC really exists is that we pick the representatives from Snohomish County that sits on the PSRC boards, like the executive, the transportation policy board, the economic development board, and some other of like the health district board and those kinds of things that we assign people to. Those people are all electeds. And SCC is tasked with finding out, for electing those people. So we had a major election that night. All of those seats were filled, and everything's copacetic about Snohomish County Cities. This morning I had the SCIT meeting, Snohomish County infrastructure meeting today. We get a legislative update on what's going on down in Olympia. And then we had an update on Sound Transit to Linwood. Sounds like they're getting into the technology testing phase right now and making sure they have enough electricity to push everybody up the hill. And checking that out, it takes several months to do that testing. Then they'll do several months of running the trains on their schedule with no riders and test it out that way. And then they'll finally get to a point where the state comes in and does their inspections and blesses the system when we start ridership on Sound Transit to Linwood. There's still the question about community transit running buses all the way to Seattle and when that's going to stop, when WashDOT is going to start the Revive I-5, where they're basically be cutting down on 1 lane at a time on I-5, which also hurts CT getting down there and stuff. And then how many train can they really get up and back and forth on Linwood, which is cut in half right now because they're just not ready. Even when they open it up, we'll only get about 50% service. So there's going to be some things happening. Going to be a long learning. And that's all I have.
Okay, thank you. We have 2 council members online. Councilmember Jorstad, any comments tonight?
Nothing from me tonight. Thank you.
Great, thank you. And Councilmember Tadgen, anything tonight?
Nothing for me. Sorry, I can't be there. I'm a little under the weather tonight.
All right, great. Thank you. With that, there's no mayor business tonight, but city department report. Caitlin, you want to talk a little bit about the retreat in Olympia?
Thank you. I wanted to address council tonight just about 2 emails I had sent out about upcoming events that we have where we're needing to confirm some attendance. The first is during our AWC action days. I know the mayor and city administrator Brazel will be down there attending the event, but we have some great meetings set up on February 7th, which is that Wednesday, by our lobbyist, Trevor Justin. He set up meetings with Representatives Lowe, Eslick, and Wagner. And so we have 2 council members that have gotten back to me about wanting to carpool down and attend those meetings. And I'd love to finalize any other council members that are able to attend so we can give that list to the legislative aides.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm on that list, but I will know at the end of this week.
Okay.
The next week, I'm almost certain to be able to do that, but I'm planning on doing that.
Okay, wonderful. And if the answer isn't tonight, then maybe if you could just, whoever else I haven't heard from could check in with me by Friday so we can get those lists firmed up. That'd be wonderful. And Steve, I'll put you down as a 96% yes.
Caitlin, will you put me down as a 96% yes as well? This is Marcus.
Put you down. Wonderful. And anyone else is totally great to reach out to me this week. I just wanted to make sure while I had everyone here that I checked in. And then the second one was our upcoming council retreat. So I have to have a rooming list confirmed with the property by Friday. And I've got, I think, a couple people I still haven't heard back from. So if you could check in with me and let me know for sure if you're going to come and stay overnight at the retreat, or if you're not able to, I do have to have that list in by Friday. So.
Okay, great. Thank you. Any other city department reports tonight? No one's shaking their head, jumping up and down, wanting to step up to the microphone. Okay, I guess not. With that, item number 10, consent agenda.
Move to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
All those in favor of approving the consent agenda?
Aye.
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 Aye. Unanimous. Thank you. Action items. Consideration of ordinance 1177, amending Lake Stevens Municipal Code 2.56 regarding the size of the park boards and recreation planning board. Jill Meese.
Thank you, City Council. I have before you an ordinance that would decrease the park board size from 9 members down to 7. Historically, it's been a 7-member board, but in 2021, when we had applicants for the park board, the council liaisons and staff found several members that were very qualified and wanted to appoint them to the board. So we increased the size of the board from 7 to 9 at that time, and we appointed all of those members. Since then, we've had some challenges in especially having the offsite meetings. If we have to use any of the conference rooms, a 9-member board with the clerk and staff is kind of hard to manage and find a spot for them, as well as we've had some vacancies off of the board. So just through natural attrition, right now there's 7 members that are serving on that board. And so we would like to recommend reducing the size back down to a 7-member board. And with that, I'll answer any questions.
Any questions for Jill? Any questions from our 2 council members online? Hearing none, can I have a motion to approve?
I'll move to
ordinance?
approve
Nothing
ordinance
from me, thank you.
77.
I'm sorry. Can she repeat?
I think Angie just said nothing from her.
Okay, great. Go ahead, Councilmember
I'm
Ewing.
sorry, I moved to approve ordinance 1177 regarding the size of the park board.
We have a second.
Second.
All those in favor of approving ordinance 1177, amending the park board positions from 9 to 7 members. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? We're unanimous on that. Unanimous approval. Discussion items. Jill, you're up next again on this one.
Thank you. So the next item I have on the agenda is to discuss and provide feedback for the memorandum of understanding with the YMCA. To briefly recap the process, in the beginning of 2023, the city solicited a request for proposals to go into partnership with the city to manage a community recreation center. And the YMCA was selected to be the partner. And in October of 2023, we presented the findings of that we were going to proceed with the partnership with the YMCA. And the next steps would be a memorandum of understanding that outlines the process of how we're going to jointly plan the facility. And we're going to incorporate the needs of both parties to develop the floor plan, the architecture, and just the general site development. It also outlines how a framework of how we would jointly raise funds for the property. Tonight, our YMCA partners have joined us. We have Jennifer and Peyton in the audience if you had any questions for them. I don't know if they're prepared for that, but just wanted to point out that they're here in support of that and answer any questions that you might have on the memorandum of understanding.
Okay, great. Thank you, Jill. Do the representatives of YMCA have anything to state tonight, or? Appreciate you coming to the council meeting tonight.
We'll give you 20 minutes.
That's not going to be enough. A lot like share. Just kidding. Hey, my name is Peyton Toon. I'm the president and CEO of the YMCA of Snohomish County. We were thrilled when the opportunity to compete for this opportunity came about. It fits squarely within our mission as a community-based organization. We currently have 6, we would call them membership centers throughout the county. I'm guessing some folks in the room are somewhat familiar. The two closest are the Marysville YMCA and the Monroe YMCA. The YMCA currently touches meaningfully 1 in 6 residents in Snohomish County through membership programs, volunteerism, donations, or all of the above. When we did our analysis, 1,500 households in Lake Stevens actually leave Lake Stevens every day to participate in one of our other facilities around the county. And so when we did our analysis and met with city staff, and Jill and Sarah are amazing, it made sense. I mean, we're in the business of serving community. We are the largest childcare provider in the county. I'm not going to give you guys a history lesson of what the Y is up to, but 125 years of history is pretty salty. I've been in this county for 4 years, a little over 4 years, but 25 with the YMCA in total. So the opportunity to partner with a strong and growing community such as Lake Stevens makes complete sense to us. We're excited about the project. And we see this as an opportunity to just to continue to lean into what we've done historically, to take obviously the assets and upsides of yourselves, the citizens here in Lake Stevens, and the work that the YMCA does. So we're just continuing to walk down the path as it makes sense, with the MOU as a start, and find a way to continue to bring these services to the whole county, but specifically this evening we're talking about Lake Stevens. I don't have the MOU memorized. I know that Jill does, so she could probably answer some of those questions, but I'm happy to answer general questions or specific questions to the best of my ability.
Anyone have any questions?
I do have a general question. One of the things that I've just been trying to wrap my head around with this particular site is it seems it's going to be a little smaller than a lot of YMCA locations, no pool or anything. So I know we've got space, we've got rooms, and I'm just kind of curious what activities and services will go in there. Earlier you mentioned childcare, so that's the first time I've thought of that. But any examples like that you can give of how this space will be used?
No, that's a great question. So in our nomenclature, the other 6 facilities are membership centers. So 40, 50, 60,000 square feet. Our newest location, the Everett YMCA on Colby, is a 60,000 square foot facility. It can serve 5,000 to 6,000 household units. A unit is a roof, and then some houses have 2 folks, some houses have 1, some have 10. It just kind of depends. But we would refer to this as a program site, and so there's only so much you can do with 8 or 9 or 10,000 square feet. So certainly senior fitness, adult fitness. Things as you're thinking of, like if you think about a day in the life of this facility, and all of this is obviously subject to collaboration with city staff and electeds as well. But you think about the life of a Y. They're opening early. The Everett Y, all of our Ys open at 5 a.m. They're open until about 10 p.m. During the week. But you might start out with the working crowd that's going to come in, take a spin class, do yoga, something like that, some sort of a HIIT workout or something like that, and then those folks go on to work. And then there's another crowd that comes in, typically from a 9 to 3 window. You're looking at folks that aren't going to work during the day, sometimes seniors, sometimes families, different classes throughout the day. And then in the evening when the kids get out of school, the benefit of our partnerships, whether it's with local school districts or churches or things like that, we don't have to actually have all of our programming inside the 4 walls of a YMCA building. So a lot of that would take place in schools and churches and parks and things like that. The most glaring piece of this puzzle that's not there would be, you traditionally see a basketball gym, a rec space, and then a pool of some sort. Our hope and our desire is that this is the beginning of a longer term relationship, and having gone through this partnership for a while, fast forward 3, 5, 7 years down the road, then we would each know each other better. We would obviously have a better understanding of what the unique needs in Lake Stevens are, and then we can continue to collaborate with the city to find out, well, what does you know, and I forgive me for being forward, but this is not the final iteration of what we think could be in Lake Stevens. This is the beginning.
Thank you.
So the question I have is it typical that you own the buildings when in your membership one that you own those buildings? And in
Great.
this one, we're owning the building.
Yeah. So that's a great question. I would say the majority of YMCA, there's 5,000 membership centers in the United States. So the majority of them would be owned by a YMCA, certainly not required. I've worked in, we call the local governing body an association. That's kind of our language. There's 800 associations in the United States. I've worked for 7 of them. Happy to be here, not going anywhere else. But there's a lot of different ways to do it. When I worked in Florida, the Homestead YMCA was owned by the city of Homestead. The Pembroke Pines YMCA was owned by the city of Pembroke Pines. So public-private partnerships are very common in our portfolio. So we don't actually have to own the brick and mortar to continue to do it's the same work, no matter who owns it.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions, council members online?
No, thank you. I appreciate the information and I look forward to our partnership. Thank you.
I look forward to the partnership as well. Thank you. No further questions for me.
Okay, great. Any other questions, guys? Nothing. Okay. Well, appreciate you coming tonight. And-
I would just say the last thing I would say, if you give me just 2 more sentences, I would say the YMCA of the USA is the largest social service nonprofit in the United States. So I hope that it's exciting for you all as electeds and anyone else here to have that banner and that brand come to this community in a robust and really real way. And we're super proud. The city of Lake Stevens is incredible. So we're super excited about the partnership.
Good. I think it goes both ways. So yeah, glad you're here.
Yeah, thank you for having me. And this does not have to be the last time I come and share with you all. First time. Nice to meet you.
Great. Thank you. So moving along, Sarah, grounds operations and maintenance standards.
Thank you, Council. David Green, our Parks Field Supervisor, was able to join us tonight, so I'm going to have him present this amazing plan.
Thank you, Council. I'm here to present the Parks Department's grounds operation maintenance standards. This is a document we have been building for several months. We reflected on how we are currently maintaining our grounds and infrastructure, as well as the direction we want to go towards in the future. We also looked at the best practices used across the region and referenced multiple documents published by other municipalities. We also looked at the APWA accreditation standards, and we put all those things together and create this document. This document will be used internally as a guide for our operations team, and externally, it will help set expectations for our external customers. We, since you've received the document the other day, we have made some minor updates to the version based off feedback we received from a council member. And with that, we plan to revisit this document minimally once a year to make sure it stays updated and current, and we continue to stay on trend and follow best practices. If there is any questions or comments, I can try to field those right now. Thank you.
Any further comments, Sarah?
I don't have anything specifically to add. The changes that were made were emailed out to council members, and just to specify, it was the language around mowing. Specifically in the level 2, it was pointed out that it said bi-monthly. Definition of bi-monthly could be that it is every 2 months or 2 times a month. And due to that, we went ahead and analyzed it. We had meant semi-monthly, but in analyzing the service levels, we went back and put actual day ranges on each of the levels 1, 2, and 3 to further specify how we are actually maintaining our grasses.
Okay, great. Any questions from council?
Not a question. I have a comment, though. I'm relatively surprised at how succinct this is. It's to the point and it's only 12 pages long. I think that's awesome. It's a lot of times we get these things that are going to be humongous and really unwieldy. So I think you did an excellent job on this, and it's easy to follow. I think that the citizens would be able to look at this and understand exactly what's going on. I wasn't able to come up with anything that, I would question. So I was really impressed. Nice job.
Great. Any other questions, comments?
I'll add to that. I was really impressed with the document itself, and I appreciate, I think, the flexibility and how it is catered specifically to our community and the needs that we have within our community while respecting the industry standards. And so I think that's a really impressive component for me. And just another example of that is the flexibility with the wording on the maintenance of the grasses. It just reflects understanding of the needs that our community has and our parks have. So thank you to Director Garceau and her team for such an outstanding product. Thank you.
Council members online, any comments?
Not for me, thank you.
With that, we come to the end of the agenda. I have a motion to adjourn.
Actually, I apologize. Could I jump back to the MOU very quickly since Greg's not here to slap my hand? Backtracking. So I have a question. It's not about the MOU specifically, so I apologize for not jumping in there. Director Garceau, if I could put you on the spot really quick, I just wanted to follow up the October presentation where we discussed the funding for the YMCA. There was roughly $1 million in federal funding that was pending. I was just curious if we had a status update on that.
We did reach out to our contacts regarding the federal funding. At this time, it is still pending. They are getting through their budgets. They have temporarily extended budgets, I believe, through the 1st of March was the response. And after that, they will be able to look at this additional earmarked money. So we're hoping sometime by spring. We have asked that they keep us updated, and we're touching base about every 1 or 2 months.
Okay, thank you. That was all.
Thank you. With that, do I have a
Move
motion?
to
to adjourn?
adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor of adjourning?
Aye.
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 Unanimous. Thank you. Again, thank you for showing up tonight. Appreciate your comments.